Hello and good Sunday evening to all of you. I hope you are staying nice and cool. Was 101 today here in Denver. Luckily, it is a dry heat, right? We always say that at least it's a dry heat, which I guess is kind of better because we only have about 16% humidity, but poof, it is hot. I am so thankful for the air conditioner, savoring that air conditioner, right? It is rough. So I know a lot of you are also having that as well. And thank you all for letting us know who your unhinged summer persona was. I saw some sticky, what was it, like a sticky baby shark and some passive aggressive beach witches and an underpaid lobster. Lots of fun things there. It's always fun to see what cozy nerdy things comes up with on her Instagram for us to kind of pick from. So just really quick, make sure you set that chat to everyone. And yes, it appears the reactions, the commenting and reactions are back in Zoom. It's been kind of wacky, like they were there and then they went away and then they're back. And then you might not have them because if you haven't updated. And I know it can be a little disconcerting sometimes because it makes the chat. What happens is every time you react or comment on one of the chat comments, it puts it down at the bottom again like it's new. So it does get a little wonky. So we will figure this one out too. I know some people don't like the reactions, some people do. So that's just kind of life. It's just the way it is. We'll figure it out, right? This too shall pass. There's no way for us really to turn them off, I guess. So they're just there. I know sometimes it depends on if you're on a cell phone versus an iPad versus the computer. So yeah, Alyssa, first world problems, right? Yeah, but we'll figure it out, right? It just sometimes takes a little bit. And I know sometimes it's tough because it gets the chat rolling really fast and there's usually about 100 of us here, so it can get a little funky, but we'll make it work, right? We'll make it work. And maybe they'll, I don't know, come up with a way to turn it off or to calm it down or um, make it an option, something. I don't know. So anyway, I did want to mention that if you haven't seen, we are doing the Christmas in July. That was kind of a last minute addition because Sonder fam asked for it, right? You all sent in some emails to headquarters and Meha got the message loud and clear. And so she was like, let's make it happen. I know it's the end of July, but still it is in July. So it's going to be the 30th, this Thursday. And fabulous Jennifer O, who is my co-facilitator here tonight, hanging out in the chat. She's going to be leading that one. I will not be there because I will be watching the new Spider-Man movie. But anyway, so it will be Thursday, July 30th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. There is a fee for this one. Just so you know, it's not a lot, but there is a small fee for this one because it is extra. If you are not able to attend, but you want the recording, make sure you go ahead and sign up, and then you will get an email with a link for the recording. So it will be a lot of fun. You know, it always is, right? And I know some people love the idea of Christmas in July, and other people, it's like the most horrible thing they've ever heard. So again, right? We all have different tastes, different things, but we try to help everyone here. And is anybody new? Is this like your first time coming to a social? Maybe you're brand new to Silk and Sonder. You're starting with the August journal brand new. You can just put a little me in the chat. We want to make sure that we welcome you and say hello. Let you know that these socials really are an amazing thing to be able to come to and kind of help with our community. We do have some community guidelines. Want to make sure that we're kind and courteous to both ourselves and to others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. We also will redirect any customer care inquiries to our team, hello@silkandsonder.com. Jennifer and I do not have access to your account, so we can't fix any of those address changes or updating the credit cards, or if you want to switch from a monthly plan to the yearly plan. All of those go to hello@silkandsonder.com. They are a Monday through Friday team, so sometimes it does take a little while for them to get back to you if you email on the weekends, but they should get back to you quickly. So, and then ultimately remember that these socials really are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, our fabulous, wonderful, creative, smart, resourceful community. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well being, and decisions. So, if there's ever anything you're working on that just isn't your jam, you want to do something else, this is your hour. You do what you need to do, right? If the music I play isn't your jam, you can mute that. If my voice isn't your jam, you can mute me. We have closed captioning enabled. Some people like to come and hang out in the chat and chat with their friends. They work on their journal later. Some people ignore the chat and work solely on their journal. Other people do a little mix of both, right? And again, I always tell people there's no wrong way to do this. This is your hour. And really, we're here just to give you some ideas for some things that other folks have done with some of these sections. Oh, thank you, Amanda. And because sometimes it's inspiring, right? Sometimes you look at this and you're like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to put for these 3 goals, or I can't really think of what I want to do this week. Seeing what other people put in there is always, I think, very inspiring and super fun. So we always appreciate when folks share their pages in Sonder Club, because these are all 100% Sonder fam generated. These are not AI, these are HI, human intelligence, right? And we like to make sure that we remind folks of that. And we are digging into this theme of savoring, this last week of savoring. Not that you can't savor things after this week. And I do want to let you know, I know some folks were struggling a little bit, or kind of expressing that they were struggling a little bit with the theme for next month. I won't say it just in case, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It does seem like it's very disjointed, but it's not. We have a lot of really great activities and things to do to kind of help you see that connection between savoring and our August themes. So fear not. And Jennifer's doing a monthly setup tomorrow night, one of our first monthly setups. We have 4 going on. So if you're able to attend that, you can, yeah, Nathania, yeah. You can attend that and start getting some ideas, but we've got lots of fun things to do with that. But I think people have really been kind of enjoying this month, savoring things, finding out how it feels to really appreciate and pay attention to the things that we have. And I like this little graphic that had the weekend vibes, even though our weekend is almost over, right? So a good book and a quiet mind. I'm actually super impressed with myself. I finished 3 of my ongoing books. I finished those this weekend, so I was super happy with that. We've got rest, reset, and recharge. Hopefully we can, had a little bit of that this weekend. Cozy nights and happy hearts. Baking, except I'm not baking anything when it's 101 degrees outside, I'm going to be honest. Anyway, so hopefully you've been having fun with savoring, and you'll have fun with August theme as well. So our agenda for this evening is we're going to finish up our savoring mind map. This is going to be week 4 of that. We'll do our rosebud thorn. We'll do our weekly setup pages. And just so you know, there's room for you here just as you are, the good, the bad, the kind of in between. We're here for all the things that have happened to you this week, and the way you feel matters. No emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So nobody can say, oh, you should be happy about this, or you shouldn't be mad about that, right? We're here to share all the feels as we go through. So again, we're wrapping up our mind map. We've been reflecting on kind of this idea of slowing down and lingering on what's nourished us. Maybe it's memories, rituals, a convenience, a beloved story. So this is week 4. Now, if you have not had a chance to do weeks 1, 2, and 3, you do not have to. I always tell people you don't have to catch up. You are not behind, right? You are right where you need to be here with week 4. However, if you would like to perhaps go through the first 3 weeks, we have those here. I always tell people to take a screenshot or a picture of this so that you can see it. Also, remember, these are all recorded, and they'll be in the YouTube channel. So if you ever want to go back and find maybe the week where we talked about savoring the overlooked or savoring media, you can always go back to one of those. We have plenty of those there. But so tonight we are going to talk about savoring traditions. Traditions connect us to people, places, values, and memories. They can be inherited, chosen, evolving, or newly created. So you're going to think about what traditions nourish you most deeply. What do they help you remember, preserve, or celebrate? So, and some other questions you can kind of think about is which parts of you come alive through these savored traditions? Can you bring some of those parts into this week? What traditions would you like your future self to, would you like your future self to thank you for keeping? And how can this help reconnect and allow you to be more present and savoring the moments, right? So for me, a tradition that nourishes me every year since I've met my husband, I met him in December '99, and the first summer we were together, we went to Ocean City, Maryland, where he has gone every year for a lot of his life because his mom was from back on the East Coast, and he always went to the beach every year. So we went, and he always says, you know, if I wouldn't have loved it as much as I did, we might not have stayed together. But love Ocean City, the boardwalk, the beach, the ice cream, the food, all of that. And so it's really become such a fun tradition. Oh, Sarah Beth was there last week. Were you in Ocean City, Maryland or New Jersey? Because there are two. But I think the other one's in New Jersey. Anyway, super fun. Definitely is. This is Ocean City, Maryland that we go to, by the way. It is different. I don't know why they would have two of them the same name that would be so close together because I'm sure it's super confusing for people. But anyways, the tradition of that every year we go. Sometimes we bring nieces and nephews. Sometimes other folks come with it. Sometimes it's just the two of us, but we have gone every year. So this was my 27th year of going. Even during COVID year, we went. And so it was just fun. It was relaxing. It was just enjoyable. And so I see some other folks kind of talking about some of their traditions that they savor. So, like making my mom's Christmas coffee cake and peanut butter crackers dipped in all types of chocolate. My family loves it. I love that, right? So, I'm going to let you think of their traditions. And the other thing too is if you don't necessarily have any traditions, or you're not really a fan of maybe some of the traditions that your family has, what new tradition might you make? And you could make a summer tradition, right? You can have a tradition for each season. So summer for us is the beach. In winter, we go up to the mountains and cut our Christmas tree. So kind of thinking you could have one, a spring tradition, the fall tradition, right? Really kind of thinking of those and seeing, how they help you either remember, preserve, or celebrate things. And think about what about that tradition do you love, and what could you bring into this next week to help you think of that tradition. So I'm going to play a little bit of music. I will let you work on this part. Please feel free to keep sharing in the chat any of those traditions that you have, and we'll check back in and keep moving on. Right. Thank you for sharing in the chat some of those different traditions that you have that are nourishing, that are fun, that help you remember things. A lot of them around Christmas time, right? There's a lot of food ones, right? I think sometimes traditions do center around foods, and I love kind of thinking sometimes about traditions. Sometimes it's more of like the family in joke, right? So Greta was saying that her family says, "Watch out for animals." And she's like, yes, it is misspelled and said that way. And our family does that too. We talk about the animals, or like when one of my sisters was little, she talked about wanting some fruit cottontail instead of fruit cocktail. So we all call it fruit cottontail. So those can be little traditions too, right? Kind of those little family in jokes that other people look at you and they're like, what are you talking about? Those are always kind of fun sometimes, I think. So, and again, if you don't have a particular one that came to mind, thinking about what might you like to do. Is there something, Jennifer was saying, like when you always go to a certain coffee shop, you always get their lavender latte or something like that. You kind of have this is my traditional dish that I get when I come to this place. So that's kind of a fun way too. And a lot of times these things can be seen as very comforting, kind of that warm hug kind of thing. So thanks for just spending a few minutes there thinking about those things that we savor as we celebrate, as we connect with others. Maybe your tradition is Sunday night socials, right? And connecting with friends. We did try to, with scheduling, we've tried to make sure that it's always Saturday morning and Sunday evening to help folks keep that routine and that tradition, something that makes things a little bit easier. So thank you all for just spending a few minutes thinking of that. Now we're going to dive into our rosebud thorn activity, right? And that's going to be on page 50 in your July journal. I do want to mention this next week, this coming week, is also in your August journal. So some folks will want to switch over to August. Some folks will stay in July. I am definitely staying in July just because there's only 2 days that will be in August. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it in July. But the rosebud thorn is only in July. So if you only have August, that's okay. You can do the rosebud thorn on any blank space there in your journal to do. And it's always good just to spend a few minutes reflecting on the week that passed. So we think about our rose, our highlight, something that was fun, something that made us smile, something that made us happy. We think about our bud, which is an emerging opportunity, something that we're looking forward to. And then our thorn is a challenge, something that probably is beyond our control. And we just kind of are having to figure out a way to deep breath and deal with it, right? So I like to start with the thorn so I can end with the more happy note one, right? With the rose. So my thorn definitely has been the heat, and it's been this way pretty much all month. It's been super hot, super dry. Everybody's lawn, well, ours doesn't look too bad because we xeriscape, but most everybody's lawns look horrible. Like all the grass is dead. I don't know what's going to happen next year, even if we aren't in a drought. I don't think that grass is going to come back. People are going to have to plant new things. So that's just been like super rough. Our bud, the emerging opportunity, I've been talking about this. It's 2 weeks away, our Spain trip. I'm super excited to go over to Spain. We're going to primarily for the eclipse that will be in the middle of that week, but obviously lots of other fun things too. And I really appreciate it. I came across this little quote that says, in Spain, there's a word for the art of hanging out at the lunch table all afternoon called sobremesa, which is literally it's saying like over the table. So you're kind of like hanging out there at the table, and it's not just about eating, but it's about savoring time, laughter, and good company. So I thought that was a perfect word there to make sure I knew when I went over to Spain. And then our rose, so I've been trying to find I wanted to find our digital cameras. I have some, they're not too old. Well, I say they're not too old, but I realize they're probably like 16 years old. And because I want to use the digital camera instead of my phone to take pictures, because the phone is so distracting with other stuff to do on it. And so I went and found that. And I found some old pictures from 2010 on one of our digital cameras on the memory card. So that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, honey, look, here's you. And he's like, I don't want to see that. He's like, that was back when I was young. So anyway, so our rose, our bud, and our thorn. So feel free to share in the chat either any of those, your rose, your bud, or your thorn. I'll play just a little bit of music and then we'll keep moving on. Great. Thank you all for sharing in the chat your roses, buds, and thorns. For some of the thorns, a lot of us are talking about the heat and some of the states that are having the wildfires. And actually, France and Spain are both having some bad fires right now. So I'm hoping that that will be cleared up before we go in a couple weeks. And so that's been tough. And we've really appreciated here in Colorado the firefighters who have come from all over to help with these fires. We knew it was going to be bad because winter was so dry, and then summer stayed dry and hot. So also saw some folks with roses doing some fun things with grandkids, with nieces and nephews. Gloria's going on her artist date, so she's doing the artist way, and so that's fun. Trying some new crafts. I love that. That's always exciting to try some new crafts. Some folks are having, some stomach issues. Hopefully, nobody is having to deal with the parasite that's in the um, salads and those kinds of things. That's not good. So hopefully we're all trying to stay as healthy and happy as we can. Again, the heat is always rough to kind of deal with. And, I see some folks saying like, I did nothing today, or I saw somebody had posted in Sonder Club, like I did nothing, but they had this lovely picture of being outside. And I said, you didn't do nothing. You were enjoying nature, right? So sometimes I think we say we did nothing, but what we did was we recharged our bodies. We, uh, maybe engaged our minds by reading a book or watching TV, or maybe we took a nap, and all of those things are important, right? All of the rest there is super important. So thank you again for sharing there in the chat those roses, buds, and thorns. So we are going to work on our weekly planner. If you are staying in July, pages 52 and 53. If you've decided to move into August, we can go to pages 26 and 27. So hopefully decide which one to go to. And sometimes I kind of go in both worlds, kind of depending on if there's something I want to remember in the month of August. I might kind of put some things over on page 26 and 27 so that I can flip back and I'm not having to find my July journal. So that's always a little trick, a little tip there. I do want to remind folks, we've been reminding everybody there in Sonder Club, there is that how-to section. So if you're ever stuck and you want to find some inspiration for some of the different pages, if you go into that how-to there in Sonder Club, it will show you how people have used like the expense tracker or the mood tracker, all of those different things. I don't think there's any weekly pages per se in there, but there might be. But there's just a lot of different things, a lot of different ideas to track. The other thing, sometimes you might see something, somebody's tracking their expense tracker and think, well, actually, I want to track that in my shopping list, right? In the weekly. So again, that's the great thing about our journal is that there are so many different ways to do things. And the weekly setup is really nice because you can really kind of mix and match and see what works for you for the week, kind of like what's going on for this week and what does it need to look like. When I'm going to be on vacation in Spain for the week, it will probably have more like things to do in Spain or things I want to remember to see or kind of that type of thing. My packing list, of course, will be in there. So all those different things. So again, lots of different ideas there. So we're going to start with this week I want to feel. So thinking about how we want to show up for ourselves and for others for the week. Maybe instead of saying this week I want to feel, maybe you want to say this week I am and pick one of those words. Excuse me. Maybe you want to feel empowered or grateful, accomplished, in control, or peaceful, realigned. You want to feel self-love. You want to feel, I'd say, fun in the sun, but the fun in the sun involves being in the house in the air conditioning lately. You want to feel mighty, and they've got that cute little picture of Mighty Mouse. I see folks saying they want to feel realigned and rested. Any of those kinds of things. I love that. And then the nice thing too is underneath there's the weekly major 3 goals. And I think sometimes if you set your goals first and then think about like if I accomplish these goals, how will I feel? So I see some people saying that they want to feel prepared. They want to feel light and free. I want to feel okay. I want to feel empowered and fit. I want to feel rested. So with those ideas, with those feelings that you want, how can your goals support the way you want to feel this week? And also want to point out, maybe you want to just have one goal for the week. Maybe 3 goals is a little too many. Maybe one of your goal, if you're really wanting to focus on feeling energized, your goal is to eat foods that will nourish my body, right? Because that can help you feel energized. Or you want to really focus on hydration, right? Because a lot of times that can make us feel a little low. But yes, Nikki, you're right. Maybe avoid lettuce or make sure that the lettuce comes from some place that you can feel okay about, right? So maybe you want to go back and look at those intentions that you set. Remember that at the beginning of the month, back on page 9, or your habit tracker back on page 11. Look and see if those can help inform your goal and your feeling. Maybe you want to set your goals again this week through the lens of savoring. Maybe you want to have some no goals, like no alcohol, no doom scrolling. You guys are all like no lettuce. Maybe you want more ice cream, different things like that. Maybe you want to look back at last week or some previous weeks and see if there's anything that you're missing you want to go ahead and pick up for this week. And maybe you want to do like a personal challenge for the week. So like a fitness challenge. So maybe it's something like I want to do every morning when I get up, I want to do 5 sit-ups, something like that, some sort of a fitness challenge or a cleaning or decluttering. I know a lot of us are still kind of the ever-present decluttering task, right? Maybe it's around self-care or it's a new recipe challenge. And I had to put in this cute little picture of these little frogs reading a book because I love this. Is on an Instagram page. I can't remember the name of the account, but they always have these cute little knitted frogs. And a lot of times they're kind of like stop motion, super, super cute. I just wanted to share it. So here's some examples of things folks have put in there. I want to feel revived, and then they have a mind, body, and heart goal. One person wants to feel motivated, and so they have some goals around reading, writing, moving, and then they have some work goals thrown in there. Um, and then I love this one because this person said, this week I want to feel a little selfish, right? And she was talking about how she wants to do things that are specifically for her. Sometimes we need to be, and I don't really think it's selfish, but I know sometimes it appears that way when we do things for ourselves. But her goals were happiness, healthfulness, and soul. And then I'll show you when we get to the to-dos how she kind of pulled that into there as well. Then I also have 22 invitations into joy for savoring, playing, and making life feel good. So things like send a heartfelt handwritten note, create art without judgment or rules, sign up for a class to learn something new. Lots of really great ideas to pop in there. Maybe your goals are simple, like breathe, move, and notice. Or maybe you have some things you want to delete, delegate, and delight in. Or maybe you want to give yourself some affirmations, right? I can honor my discomfort by moving forward. This is tough, but so am I. I'm capable of doing hard things. Maybe goals aren't your jam, so you want to put in some quotes that you like, some podcasts you want to listen to, movies or TV shows. Maybe it's books you want to read, 3 ways to beat the heat. Maybe it's some songs of the week, exploring some topics you want to know more about. Maybe you want to try some new recipes. Maybe you want to do a mini bingo board. And then I'm going to go ahead and talk about this whole page, all these different ideas, and then give you plenty of time to work on these sections. So, and I know folks are kind of chatting in there with some different ideas for things that they're going to do. Oh, good. Jennifer put in the froggy Instagram link if you want to find those fun little frogs. So one of the reminders that I do want to give you is that we are halfway through the year. We're actually a little more now since we're July 26th. So the person you will be by the end of 2026 depends largely on things like the foods you eat, the books you read, the chances you take, the habits you stick to, the media you consume, the experiences you have, the thoughts in your head, the environment you're in, and the people you spend time with. So these are also good things. If you want to think about goals, maybe some of your goals are to examine who you're spending time with and see if they're really helping you kind of move into that person you want to be. So here's that example of the one, the happiness, healthfulness, and soul, the person who wanted to be a little selfish, right? So she had made a little bingo, super fun little bingo, right? With things like happiness, smile, live in the moment, take time for myself, healthfulness, drink water, eat healthfully, engage with others, soul, give myself grace. I think is that say get a long time, got a long time, and then make time for self-care. So different ideas for things that you could do there. Again, you can make just a straight up to-do list, things you want to do. You could have a work and a home list. You can remind yourself what are the 3 most important tasks each day in the coming week. Where can you schedule time for rejuvenation or refilling your energy cup? What's the smallest possible step forward you can take to see momentum and connect with your why? Maybe one of your goals is to reconnect with your why. Maybe you want to set up some morning and evening to-dos, right? Maybe you want to, that can be kind of helpful. Or again, the work in the home to-dos. Eisenhower matrix is great if you have a big major list of all the things that you want to do for the month or for the week, and then you kind of plug it into this Eisenhower matrix. So things that are important and urgent, important, not important, urgent, not important, urgent, you can kind of figure out how to kind of plug those in, and that can be super helpful. So you make that list of all your tasks, and then you categorize them in the matrix. So that can be super helpful. And then our habits and activities, or our habities, that are right underneath that, right? As I called them one time when I was talking too fast. So these to me are very specific to the week, things that I want to remember to do. So here's some examples of some self-love habits that you might want to think about. And here's some examples of things that folks have done, kind of writing in there. Remember, you do not have to fill in every line. Or perhaps you don't want to fill in any of these and you just want to use this for a nice sticker place. You can totally do that. Lots of different ideas for what that looks like. Oops, I went too far. And then the goal, the number there is how many times you want to do it that week, right? So lots of different ideas. I am going to scroll through each of these, play some music, let you work on these. Let us know that feeling. I know a lot of you have kind of talked about how you want to feel for the week, the goals that you're going to set, those to-dos that you're going to list, or how you're going to use that to-do section, and then those habits and activities. And then we'll check back in and keep moving on. Okay, I love in the chat people talking about corn sweat and talking about how, some people are talking about it and how it increases humidity, and some people are like, what the heck is that? And so then several of you Googled it to find out that it's the colloquial term for, I can't even say the word, evapotranspiration, the natural process where corn plants pull water from the soil and release water vapor through tiny pores in their leaves. And this process cools the plants, but it drives up the local humidity and raises the heat index during the hot summer days. I would believe that. I had not actually heard of that term used before, but I know that humidity where folks are growing crops sometimes can be a lot. So I love that, right? We learned something new today. Yeah, Jennifer, we get smarter when we're together. So yes, and also why jungles are so humid, right? Exactly, as opposed to the desert, right, where there's that's not happening. Nobody is putting water into the air. So thank you all for spending some time thinking about those habits and activities, those to-dos. And I appreciate someone said, and I can't remember who it was, but they said, for my habits and activities, I'm just going to put things like like honoring myself when I do a good job, or kind of writing down one a small win, or those kinds of things, as opposed to like giving themselves a lot more things to do. So I think that's a great idea too, to celebrate the small wins, to tell yourself you're doing a good job, to give yourself the atta girl, right? Like I'm doing it, especially when it's super hot outside. So let's go over to our next page, which is either going to be what, 53 or 26, no, 27, right? And this is what Katie, our other facilitator, calls the B side, right? So it's kind of sometimes you use this side and sometimes you don't. I think these are kind of very heavily repurposed depending on what folks need for the week. So the first one is the meal plan, which I think is probably one of our more heavily repurposed sections, just because there's a lot of real estate there and not everybody uses it to plan out their meals or to track their meals. They might do that in an app or something else. So here's some examples of things. Obviously, you can use it to plan what you want to eat. You can use it to keep track of what you're eating. You can also use it for kindness quote doodles, right? Fun little doodles there, a daily affirmation, right? If you're writing down the one from Sonder Club and you want to write it here in the meal plan, I like to write the daily affirmations on the one thing on the daily pages. I always kind of like putting that in there. My weekend reading. So maybe you want to kind of write what book you're reading or little notes from what you're reading. Make it happen. There's some fun cleaning chores on there. And yes, I found this fun little simple ways to celebrate the last week of July, because this is the last week of July. So maybe you want to gather or buy a summer bouquet, have a simple picnic. Maybe it's an indoor picnic. See the full buck moon on July 29th. Celebrate the abundance of summer by preparing a recipe with fresh seasonal produce. I was telling Jennifer it's Palisade peaches here in Colorado are the big thing. I was able to get some at the grocery store today. Rocky Ford cantaloupe is also a big one that we like in the summertime. So those are always fun to get. Maybe you want to send a handwritten card or letter to someone who has made your summer brighter. So for those of you in the Pen Pal group, maybe you want to find a person on the Pen Pal list and send them a little handwritten card or a letter telling them hi, or telling them I hope you're staying cool here in the summer. Maybe you want to take a sunset walk. Hopefully it's not as hot at sunset. And notice how the days are gradually growing shorter, right? We are starting to lose a little bit of that light in the evening. So those are some fun things that you can do to celebrate this last week of July, to savor the last week of July. Maybe you want to have a today's savory moment. And this person wrote down the different things that were savory to them, things that they savored. Maybe you want to make, again, a chore list. So, like different areas of the house that you're cleaning. And I thought this was lovely. Free ways to make someone feel loved. So, maybe each day you want to make someone feel loved by say their name warmly when you greet them. Put your phone face down when they are talking to you, or probably even better, put it away, put it out of sight, put the phone away. Laugh at something they said long after the moment has passed. Send them something that made you think of them with no agenda. Sit with them in silence without feeling the need to fill it, right? Lots of different ideas. So I thought that was a really nice way to do. And um, oftentimes when we give these things to someone else, we actually get back what we need. So this is kind of a fun way to do that, right? So, oh, was that yours, Nikki? Were you the sandwich? Yeah, I should have seen because you've got Benny on there, the kitty that eats your food. Did he eat your chicken sandwich? um, and then our mind body health plan. I have a fun, just a little poem, right, about savoring something slow. So that sometimes is a nice place to write a fun little poem, put something in there. Again, another fun summer idea, beach days, postcards, new adventures, seashells, sun hats. Oh, so Benny didn't eat that chicken sandwich. Good, I'm glad. Straight from the orchard, go again, the picnic idea, taking pictures of sunset. Notice how they have a camera, not a phone to take the pictures. Simple ways to turn around a bad day. Maybe you want to remind yourself if you had a rough day, give yourself some reminders of things you can do to help feel better. What you're loving today, and you can write that in there. Girls just want to have fun. We got a bingo. We got another fun little keep it fun with some different ideas of things that you can do that would be fun. Summertime bingo, right? Got lots of ideas for different things that you can do. Um, Again, lots of different ways to use this mind body health. So, whatever looks good to you, take a snapshot, remind yourself of some different ways that you can use this section. Then we've got our shopping list, and I had to put this picture of, I think it's a little seal, but it says when you're shopping on a hot, humid day and you walk into a store with nice air conditioning, it's like, oh, it feels so much better. So, if you have to go shopping, maybe you can find those nice shops with the air conditioning, right? And then I also appreciated this one when you try to justify your online shopping. So it says, I like to see my money hanging in the closet. Or for me, it would be, I like to see my money sitting in my to be read pile because I have bought a lot of books as of late and I don't really feel bad about it. So here's some other things that folks have done in that shopping section. A nice quote, reminding themselves that they are worthy of what they desire, making a social check-in. So each day, and then the person that they want to check in and how they're checking in with them. Maybe they're sending a text or calling them or a face-to-face check-in. Maybe it's a place for doodles. Maybe it's a place to remind yourself of any bills that are due. So you make sure those get paid on time. Let go and grow, right? So different kinds of, again, quotes, things that you can kind of think of. And then the I am loving section really is just like, what are you loving right now? What are you enjoying? What's making you smile? So the picture that's in the upper right hand side, that's this cool art installation. They had one in the mountains last year that we went to see, but now they have one downtown at Union Station here in Denver. And it's all these little strips of, I think it's fabric, or it might be paper, but it blows and it moves. It's like this kinetic sculpture, super beautiful. So that was super fun. I love seeing those. And then there's my pile of books that I got from last weekend when I was at a book retreat. So, and you notice there's also a little chocolate chip cookie there in the cup. So that was a lovely handy thing. So I will cycle through these, right? I will see what you're writing there in the chat. Let us know how you're using these sections, or maybe you're not using this page at all. Maybe you're putting in stickers, maybe you're putting in doodles, just kind of doing whatever you like. Just let us know and play a little bit of music, and then we'll come back and we will wrap things up. All right. Well, thank you all so much for sharing in the chat how you're using some of these different sections. Um, I really appreciate kind of seeing some of the different things that are going, and I'm so glad that you are all here. And this is always the fastest hour. I do not know how it goes by so fast, I swear. But please share your weekly planner. You see, you never know, you might make it in. We'll get a screenshot of some of these, and you never know who you're going to inspire, right? A lot of folks say, "Oh, I don't want to share because it's not." Uh, I don't think it's good. My writing is really bad. Don't feel like that, right? Everybody loves to see what other folks do, so share that weekly planner. I do want to mention if you we are doing the Zoom book discussion for Project Hail Mary. If you're in the Fable book club, or if you're not in the Fable book club but you've read Project Hail Mary, I put the link in Sonder Club. The link is also in Fable. So join us here in about 30 minutes, and it is a it's not super structured, right? But it's not it's just kind of it is cameras and microphones on. The pen pal list doesn't have to be up. It's updated every time somebody does it. So you just use that same link. It's a Google sheet, Ellen. So you don't have to get an updated. You just have to go in, and it will be everything will be there. And as when people sign up, they just pop in to see it. So also don't forget. We have Christmas in July coming up. I know Jennifer's going to pop that link in there. She's going to pop in the links to our YouTube channel so you can watch these recordings. We've got over 2,000, I think, in there now or something, or maybe it's not 2,000. Maybe it's like, because I think they might have deleted some of the older ones, but there are a lot that are in there. So those are always super fun. So, and again, if you can't make the Christmas in July, but you want to watch the recording, since it is a paid event, it won't be on the YouTube channel. You'll get a link in your email when you have signed up for that. So make sure that you do that. So thank you all so much. Hopefully I might see some of you in our book club discussion. Otherwise, I hope you have a fabulous week, last week of July, and we will see you again real soon. Take care, everyone.